What up? Okay, here we are with another character analysis. I don't know why I spoke like that. Yeah, so I was bored and I was just thinking like I might as well knock some of these out, right? It's been a while, so I might as well do it. So yeah, we'll do a Kurama today. We'll do Kurama today, and yeah, I have a couple more planned. Yeah, so this is gonna be one on Kurama, and after I finish this, I'm gonna be recording one for Hiei. And then I'll be uploading that one right after this one, so you guys will have two to look forward to if you like it. So where do I start? It's been like 2 years, I think, around that time since I last rewatched and reread Yu Yu Hakusho, right? So this is primarily going to be dealing with the manga. This is going to be dealing with manga Kurama. So. And the reason I say that is because, you know, if you've been following any of my videos for a while, you know that I kind of talked about the differences between the manga, you know, even the Viz manga and just the raw untranslated Japanese manga, right? Well, no, not untranslated. The difference between Viz's translation of the manga and the pure unadulterated translation of the Japanese manga. And then how that's different from the Japanese version of the anime, and then Funimation's dub of the anime, right? So really, you kind of have like 4 different versions. It's kind of, and you know, it's kind of like that for Dragon Ball too. And the reason the manga is like the differences come with like different translations, obviously, about what characters say, or censoring like certain images in a manga, things like that. You know, yeah, it's nothing new. Not always, but from time to time I've always talked about from time to time I've talked about how Viz's version of the manga isn't exactly the best for both Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho, specifically because those are my 2 favorite series, right? So yeah. Anyway, this is primarily going to be dealing with manga Kurama, I guess the scanslated as raw as I can Japanese version, because. And the reason I know that this is actually trustworthy is because Herms himself, if you guys know Herms, Jake from Kanzenshu, the guy who does the Dragon Ball stuff, he actually did his own Yu Yu Hakusho site. So a lot of the information that I'm getting is actually, well, not a lot, but some of the information that I'm getting is from his site. If you guys want a link to that, I'll actually put that in the description box below so you can check it out. He literally, on his blog spot, goes through the anime and like compares it with the manga and vice versa. So, it's pretty much I even did that for the Yusuke character analysis video. So yeah. Anyway, we'll start with Kurama and then I'm gonna do Hiei next. So yeah, where to begin with Kurama? I guess like when we first see him, yeah, red-haired dude, Kenshin Yamcha kind of look-alike thing. Real name Yoko Kurama, Silver Fox Demon. I get the first character trait that really, at least that stood out to me when I kind of went into Yu Yu Hakusho with a blank slate, like all those like 2 to 3 years ago when I kind of like pretended that I didn't know anything about the series, right? Where I just had to I had to convince myself like, okay, I don't know anything about Yu Yu Hakusho, I'm just gonna go into this like as if I'm like blind. The first trait that stood out to me when I was like reading like in that state of mind was that this dude like really loves his parents a lot, specifically his mom. So he's very much a mama's boy, I guess, but not a whiny mama's boy, but still like very much a mama's boy. And you know, he loves his dad too. A lot of demons from his past are trying to kill him. There's this there's this demon/person called Yatsude. Yasude, I think that's how you pronounce it. Yatsude or Yasude, I don't know how you say it, but that led to his encounter with Hiei. And actually in the manga, there's actually a side there's kind of there's 1 or 2 chapters. It's kind of like a doujinshi of sorts by Togashi himself that explains Hiei's and Kurama's like their first meeting, right? So that whole meeting with Yatsude led to his encounter with Hiei, and then the ruthless side is kind of hinted at when he erases Maya's love for him. So like within that, there's this character called Maya, and she loves Kurama. So another at least to me, another like big character trait of Kurama's is his ruthlessness and his decisiveness when he like makes decisions in the series, right? But yeah, there's this girl named Maya, like in that past, like when it shows how Kurama and Hiei first met. There's this girl called Maya who loves Kurama, and Kurama actually like removes or erases Maya's like memories and love for him. which I think kind of hints at his sort of not loneliness, but just at his loner status and his ruthless side. So yeah, I mean, I'm not really going to do a recap of what what he does in the series, because I kind of feel like you as a reader or a watcher can just see that for yourself. I want to talk about the more interesting things that talk about his character, which is kind of what I do in all my other character analysis videos. So I'm actually going to go skip straight to the fight that he has with Toya in the Dark Tournament, right? So he actually doesn't kill Toya, which is kind of interesting considering that Toya was trying to kill him with the Ice Blade. And obviously death is allowed in the Dark Tournament. And I guess this kind of characterizes him in an interesting way, because he wants to know what Toya will do after he wins, the island. Because if you guys remember, Toya, he was the Ice Demon, and he was like, oh, I want to help support my Ice Demon clan or whatever, right? So he actually doesn't kill Toya because he wants to know what he will do after he wins after he wins that said safe abode, home for himself, right? Right. So that's, to me, that was kind of the biggest thing from the Dark Tournament, at least, that stood out to me. Well, more than that, it was really him willing to die for his teammates, which I guess really isn't too an unexpected a trait for a shonen character to have. But yeah, it was him willing to die for his teammates, considering considering that he was kind of this, not necessarily bad guy, but an antagonist in some respect, who was really more so, if anything, just a friendly, neutral character, right? But the fact that he's willing to die for Yusuke, Kuwabara, and Hiei, the fact that he's willing to die for his teammates, I think, tells a lot about him. And once again, even with the Tsuki, he obviously cares about them, as he would rather die fighting, with the Tsuki and Sensui. Yeah, even Sensui, when he has the sacred energy, he would rather die fighting against them than have one of them gone. He'd rather die than lose one of his friends. Kurama, and I want to dial it back a bit to the fight with Seaman. Kurama, in a sense, admits to Seaman that he is with humans because not all of them are evil, which actually is something that I'm going to talk about in Kuwabara's thing when I talk about that, just like Kuwabara and his sense of humanity. But yeah, he's with them because he realizes that not all of them are evil. Obviously, if you guys remember Kurama, he was obviously Yoko Kurama before, gets her, and then pushes himself into Shuichi Minamino's body, right? So yeah, when he fights Seaman, he's yeah, not all of them are evil, but Kurama still can kill Seaman the next time they meet, though, which once again hints at his sort of ruthlessness and his sort of decisiveness as a character. He'll do, if you need to be killed, he will kill you, right? And the reason I'm bringing this up against Seaman is because obviously Seaman is with Sensui, and Sensui, he thinks all humans are evil and everything, right? Partially because he's been psychologically fractured to think that way, right? So Kurama, in a sense, that whole talk about how humans can sometimes be good and evil with Seaman lends itself to that, because yeah, Seaman is with Sensui. But then what's interesting is that even though he spares Seaman, I say Seaman, I should say Seaman. Even though he's not open to killing him or fighting him in that specific instance, he does say that the next time he sees him, he probably can kill him. Not that he will or would kill him, he can kill him should the circumstances arise. So really, it's between Kurama's his love for other people and his ruthlessness and decisiveness. The ruthlessness is once again seen when he psychologically inflicts harm on Game Master. Now, the Game Master thing, I think, is a fantastic character moment for Kurama. So obviously, if you guys don't remember, Kurama versus Game Master in the Chapter Black arc, right? Game Master is actually tricked by Sensui, right? Manipulated because of his innocence and his naivety to stop Team Urameshi and their friends from trying to stop Sensui and his goals, right? Now, obviously, Game Master, he's not aware of this, and Kurama only starts to realize this until towards the end, right? That he has to kill Game Master, even though Game Master is kind of innocent in all this, right? Because he has no knowledge. So Kurama, he realizes this, but he still does it anyway, which goes back to his whole like the ends justifies the means sort of thing. He psychologically inflicts harm on Game Master so that he can beat him in the game, and then Genkai calls it the cruelest, dirtiest way to win, right? But the important thing is that Kurama, being the nice guy that he is, he himself didn't want to do it, but it needed to be done, right? And obviously, this really angers Kurama once Amanuma dies, right? That's his name, Game Master Amanuma. Once he dies, Kurama is visibly angry by it. The fact that he had to do something that he didn't want to do, that didn't need to be done, essentially just wasn't a piece of shit, you know? So to me, that was the strongest character moment for Kurama in the Chapter Black arc. Kurama also understands, when we get to the Three Kings arc, that strength is everything in the demon world, right? He understands that strength is everything in the demon world. Like, yeah, intelligence and brains mean something, but he understands that strength is primarily the most important thing. And it's said like through various like different lines of dialogue, which I'm not gonna like say over and over again over here, but I will bring up one line, and that was when he was talking about like the second in command behind each of the three kings. When he said like the second in command people will be the deciding factor for the war between Rise and Mukuro and Yomi, because if allegedly all three kings are the same level of strength, you know, then it will obviously fall down to the next strongest, the second in command. So even though he understands that intelligence and brains and all these things are important, he also understands that strength is the end-all be-all in the demon world. Given, like, obviously when he kills Shachi, whatever his name is, who was Yomi's second in command at the time. There's one really, like, kind of like not a yaoi gay moment, but there's one out there moment. Yusuke tells him sorry since he can't make it to his mom's wedding with her boy. So Kurama's mom is actually getting married to someone different, right? So Yusuke tells him sorry since he can't make it to his mom's wedding with her boyfriend. And obviously, like, the thing is, like, yeah, Hiei, Kuwabara, like, but Yusuke, the relationship between Yusuke and Kurama, I think is, at least in my experience, was different. I can't explicitly and descriptively say how it was, but you can tell that when Yusuke and Kurama were together, yeah, they were friends just like Kuwabara and Hiei, and obviously there's different levels of friendship to that, but the way in which it was expressed, it made it seem like very different to me. It was a different, like, yeah, they're friends, they will die for one another, they'll help each other out or whatever, but you know, a line of dialogue like this where he tells him sorry that I can't make it to your mom's wedding with your boyfriend, I think it's a little more I don't know the word, but it's different. And the reason I say like this is like this moment in of itself is kind of like out there was because it made Kurama happy, as it was the last thing Yusuke said to him before leaving for Demon World. So obviously, like, once again, his care for his friends is apparent. Yeah, back to that whole strength thing. What I was saying in the Demon World, like in the Three Kings arc, where he understands that strength is everything. He believes more so in strength of the team rather than the individual, right? Which is like why he said like the whole second in command is the key to an organization, something which Yomi reiterated to him, right? So he's obviously more about believing in the strength of the team rather than the individual. And the Three Kings arc is actually when we get into more detail about his life as Yoko Kurama, right? He was cold and calculating as the leader of the bandits, and he really liked cruelty. He wasn't like Doflamingo and Joker, like licking his lips or whatever, but even though he does lick his lips, but he wasn't like laughing gleefully like 24/7 or anything like that. He was just like very silent and had like this piercing gaze and stuff, right? And he liked cruelty, so he was cold and calculating as the leader of the bandits, and obviously like Yomi was one of his members. And in his talk with Kaito, right? If you guys remember Kaito from, you know, those three shadow people, the guy with the what's it called, the territory abilities, I think it's called in the dub. He's the smart guy. In his talk with Kaito before leaving for the Demon World in the manga, he himself is excited at the prospect of fighting Yusuke and Hiei. But kind of like what is important, what was kind of like what was hinted at in the Dark Tournament arc, Kurama is struggling with his Yoko Kurama side overtaking his human side, Shuichi Minamino, right? So like, Yoko Kurama in essence is a different person than Shuichi Minamino, right? Because Kurama is a demon and Shuichi Minamino was this different human baby who was then, I don't want to say infected, but who was then who was made the vessel for Yoko Kurama when he was injured, right? So the original Shuichi Minamino personality is kind of gone, or like what he would have been, right? It's Kurama now. Kurama as a human is exactly that. Kurama as a human. That Shuichi Minamino without Kurama's influence is pretty much gone at this point. So it's interesting because he's kind of struggling with like two different aspects of his personality, Yoko Kurama and Shuichi Minamino, and the Yoko side is overtaking. The demon side is overtaking the human side. And he says that Yoko tends to get combative and belligerent, which I can believe because he's a demon, and demons in general are just a lot more violent than humans, right? Kurama is with Yomi to keep the balance of the three worlds in check, hence why he recruits the Dark Tournament fighters. He might consider taking Raizen's place depending on Yusuke's first move, which was a very... this is what I was talking about, his relationship with Yusuke. It's very strange. Kurama is obviously like very intelligent and makes like calculated moves, right? And he believes like in keeping the balance of the three worlds in check, which is something I believe in. Obviously, but it's interesting that he says that because Yomi is obviously trying to overtake that because he's just trying to eat as many humans as he can. So I'm not. So it's interesting like why he decided to go with Yomi. But then I mean, in essence, at the same time, Yomi does threaten his mom, so I can kind of get it, right? But he also recruits the Dark Tournament fighters later, right? And in the anime, when Yusuke goes and starts to talk with Yomi, he's willing to take the Dark Tournament fighters with him and fight Yomi with Yusuke, right? And obviously, once Yusuke proposes a tournament, he sides with Yusuke's decision because that will be like the fairest thing, and obviously Yusuke doesn't really have a chance of beating Yomi, right? But in the manga, this is Kurama is he's a lot less he's more of a stranger, right? And this is what I was saying about the strange relationship, because he says that if Yusuke dies, I mean, depending on his first move, if he dies, he might consider taking Raizen's place. So it's like it's almost as if he'll let Yusuke die, should that happen. Which is kind of interesting, to say the least. When he kills Shachi, he says, "Never play your trump card first," which is oh my god, that is so true. Never play your trump card first. Never play your strongest card first. That's so true. When he kills Shachi, he says that, and that's a quote that I'm bringing up because I just think it's so important. Like, it's just something like I truly believe in. But then Yomi, he has an interesting response to that. He goes, Yomi responds with, "Or if you must play your strongest card first, make sure you keep another one up your sleeve," right? Which is also a pretty cool quote. But it just goes to show like how like intelligent and calculating Kurama is. And really, the relationship that he has with Yusuke, I think, takes another turn. Kurama wants to fight Yusuke, right? But not within the restrictions of all-out war. Like Hiei, he would side with Yusuke as well. Which, again, I said was very interesting because, Yomi is threatening his parents. So, I guess, like, the message in the end is that he hopes that he can manage something against Yomi should it ever come to that. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much my Kurama. This is kind of like shorter than usual, isn't it? But I guess 20 minutes is not bad. But there's one more. Actually, no. I was gonna say the talk that he has with Yusuke at the end of the manga when they learn that Koenma's dad like brainwashed like a whole bunch of demons. I was gonna bring that up, but I think it's better for me to. I don't really think that really. It doesn't. It characterizes Kurama, but not in a very too significant way, right? So I'm not really gonna talk about that. But I do recommend that people, if you haven't read the manga, and even if you have no interest in reading the manga, at least go ahead and read that scene because that scene was just like beautiful to me. because Yusuke was like, I wonder how many of them were brainwashed, or like how many of the ones I could like Rando, or I assume like Togura's not one of them, but like Rando and some of the other ones like Byakuya maybe, or Suzaku, whoever, right? And he begins to wonder like how many of them were brainwashed, and then Kurama goes like, try not to think about it. And just the finality, the way that Kurama says it, I thought was just an incredible scene. But yeah, that's my Kurama character analysis, guys. This guy, he's actually tied with Hiei as my second favorite character in Hakusho behind Yusuke. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and do my Hiei one next. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know, character similarities, I guess, to other. I would say Piccolo, maybe. I've always said like he's kind of like Piccolo. In the sense that, you know, Piccolo has like a bunch of, even though he doesn't struggle with it like Kurama does. Like Kurama has like, he struggles between the Yoko side overtaking his human side. Piccolo doesn't really have that, but Piccolo has like different sort of like personalities in him, Kami and Nail, obviously. And the fact that they're both intelligent, I think, kind of strengthens that similarity. Even though in Piccolo's case, the only time like he was really like said to be intelligent was like when Buu absorbed him. Even though he has shown to be intelligent before that, obviously, but the first time like that was explicitly stated was when he fought Buu, obviously, or when he was absorbed by Buu. So that, and the fact that you know, he forms a relationship, the relationship that he has with Goku, I think, is similar to what Kurama has with Yusuke. Like it's at least more so in the anime than the manga. In the manga, it seems like, oh, I'm just willing to like, if it comes to that, like, I won't help him, but I'll still, like, mourn him. Whereas Piccolo, by the time, like, Android's arc and Namek arc and Buu arc all happen, he's like, yeah, I'll help this dude as much as I can, right? So, yeah. I guess that's my last closing comment about it. GOAT characters. But yeah, that's my Kurama character analysis. Awesome character. I'm going to do my Hiei one after this. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys don't watch the Hiei one, well, have a good night. Bye-bye. Take care.